What is a function? A special type of equation is a function. A function is simply a rule that relates an input or inputs, those independent variables, to a unique output, that dependent variable. And functions are single valued. When we assign values to the input or inputs, one and only one output is returned. A single variable function is denoted as y is equal to f of x. So we interpret a function like this as saying y depends on x in some way. For example, you may see it written out in long form. Y is equal to f of x is equal to x squared, or quantity demanded is equal to quantity demanded of p, which equals 100 minus 2p. It may be a little shorter. F of x is equal to x squared, or quantity demanded depends on price equals 100 minus 2p. Maybe even shorter, it may just look like an equation, y equals x squared, or qd equals 100 minus 2p. The point is that on this side, what we're being told is that y depends on x in some way. And on this side, we're being told that quantity demanded depends on p in some way. A multivariable function is denoted as y is equal to f of x, z, and any other variable. This is interpreted as saying y depends on x and z in some way. For example, y is equal to f of x and z, which equals x squared plus 5z, or quantity demanded depends on price and income, which equals 100 minus 2p plus y. It may be written out in shorter form. F of x of z is equal to x squared plus 5z, or quantity demanded depends on price and y, which equals 100 minus 2p plus y. And again, it may just look like a regular old equation. Y is equal to x squared plus 5z, or quantity demanded is equal to 100 minus 2p plus y. The point here is that everything circled here tells us that y depends on x and z, and everything circled here tells us that quantity demanded somehow, some way, depends on price and income. Now, sometimes a function is written in what's called specific functional form. So y is equal to f of x is equal to 2x plus 1, or q sub d equals 100 minus 2p, so on and so forth. The point is that we're being told specifically how the dependent variable relates to the independent variable. Other times, the function is in general functional form. You see this a lot in your micro and macro theory courses. So y is equal to f of x. Q sub d is a function of p. Crime in some way depends on income and age. So notice that the only difference between the two is that in the general, we're just being told, using notation, that the dependent variable depends on the independent variable in some way. We just don't know how. Evaluating a function just means replacing the independent variable or variables with a number or expression. For example, if y is equal to f of x is equal to 3 times x, then f of negative 1 is equal to 3 times negative 1, which equals negative 3. F of 1 is equal to 3 times 1, which equals 3. We don't have to use numbers, we can use expressions. F of x sub 0 is equal to 3 times x sub 0. F of x sub 0 plus the change in x is equal to 3 times x sub 0 plus the change in x. And just to make the point more clear, f of rooster is equal to 3 times rooster. So in other words, evaluating a function just means replacing that independent variable or variables with a number or expression, usually not farm animals. So when we graph a function, the ordered pair x, y, which you're used to, is the same as the ordered pair x, f of x. So on the graph here, I still have my y and my x coordinates, and I'm just putting in y equals f of x. So at point A, when x is equal to x sub 0, y is equal to f of x sub 0. At point B, when x is equal to x sub 0 plus change in x, then y is equal to f of x sub 0 plus change in x. So going back to our example, if y is equal to f of x is equal to 3 of x, then at point A, if x is equal to 1, y is equal to f of 1, which equals 3. At point B, if x equals 2, then y is equal to f of 2, which equals 6. And aside, not all equations are functions. We said before that a function is an equation that is single valued. What exactly does that mean? It means that for any x, only one y is an outcome. There are equations that exist that are not single valued. In other words, there exists an x such that there are multiple y's as outcomes. For example, y squared equals x. Notice that when we graph this, curve out y squared equals x, that if we were to draw a vertical line through the curve, that we have two y outcomes. This means that this is an equation, but it's not a function. Or y squared plus x squared equals y. When we graph these ordered pairs out, we get a circle. So at this point of x, for example, we have two y outcomes. Note that in this class and in almost every single one of your economics courses, you're given functions. There is no need to use this vertical line test to verify whether or not you're working with a function.